Joining me now is Kathleen Sebelius. She's a former Secretary of the Health and Human Services. It's early, Catherine. It's early under the Obama administration, and she also previously served as the governor of Kansas. It's such a pleasure to see you and to have you. A judge has thrown out that bid to remove ballot boxes for Tuesday's election, but let's unpack on that for just a moment. These drop boxes are located in front of government buildings where they're under surveillance for 24 hours a day. There's no evidence that's been offered in regards to the voter fraud concerns that have been raised. What's your reaction to the effort to conflate these two issues together?
Well, I think, first of all, Michael, it's good to see you. And I think that, unfortunately, this is another step in what has been a very deceptive campaign from the start. So, as you said, the Kansas Supreme Court ruled in 2019, 3.5 years ago, that the Kansas Constitution, which was written by abolitionists, Kansas was on the cusp of the Civil War and came into the Union as a free state. The Kansas Constitution has a clause that absolutely guarantees women natural, inalienable rights, and that includes the right to control their own reproductive health. Nothing has changed in Kansas law in that 3.5 years. The restrictions are still in place, the regulations are still in place, but over and over and over again, the legislature, who is supermajority Republican, has aimed at trying to eliminate women's ability to make their own health decisions. The amendment is very confusing. It's written in a very convoluted way, and it really takes a lot of explanation. And the legislature specifically chose what they thought would be the very lowest turnout election possible, not a general election ballot, either in a presidential year or even a midterm, but a primary election in the midterms, the lowest possible votes. So our job in terms of defending women's rights is really education and mobilization and making sure that people know who can vote, people know how to vote, people know what the amendment says, and people know now, looking at all of our surrounding states and neighbors, many of whom have totally banned abortion, what lies ahead if the Kansas Constitution is amended.
So I want to pick up on your point about voters knowing how to vote, or more importantly, what they're voting on. The ballot initiative was proposed by the Republican-controlled legislature, and in many ways, they controlled the messaging and how that messaging would be rolled out from the very, very beginning. So do you think it's still possible for supporters of abortion rights to overcome the confusion, a lot of it deliberate, and the lies, a lot of it aimed at further confusion that have characterized this campaign?
Well, that's certainly our hope. We have an amazing coalition. The Kansans for Constitutional Freedom have been very active with partnerships across this state. An effort is still very much underway to knock on doors and make sure on a person-to-person conversation, people understand what's at stake, understand how important it is to vote. You know, one of the things, Michael, is that not only do Democrats not typically vote in primaries in Kansas because we don't have a lot of partisan debates about who's running for office on the Democratic side, but independents almost never vote in primaries, and about a third of our voters are registered as independents. To educate people that they have a right to vote, they have a right to go in and get a ballot and just vote on the amendment has been part of the challenge. But, you know, we're still actually raising resources for this amazing organization, knocking on doors. Voting will continue, you know, through the end of the day Tuesday. The good news is that voter turnout and in-person advance balloting is way up over where it was in 2018. We know that independents are voting. We know that Democratic votes are a lot closer to Republican votes than is in a typical primary. So there is some hope that the message is really getting out. But this is a long way from over. We're here on Saturday morning, and we will continue this effort until the polls close at 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday night.
Kathleen Sebelius, thank you so much for joining us and updating us. Thank you.